Once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. She was the daughter of a kind-hearted merchant who had remarried after the death of Cinderella's mother. Unfortunately, her new stepmother was cruel and jealous of Cinderella's beauty and charm. Cinderella's life changed drastically when her father passed away, leaving her at the mercy of her stepmother and stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. They treated her like a servant, forcing her to do all the household chores while they lived a life of luxury. Despite her hardships, Cinderella remained kind and hopeful, finding solace in the company of the animals who befriended her. She would often escape to the garden, where birds, mice, and even the family cat, Lucifer, would gather around her, offering comfort and companionship. One day, an invitation arrived at the house. The prince was hosting a grand ball, and every maiden in the kingdom was invited. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were ecstatic, spending days preparing their gowns and plotting how they would win the prince's favor. Cinderella longed to attend the ball, but her stepmother forbade it, saying she had no suitable dress and would only embarrass them. Heartbroken, Cinderella retreated to her room, tears staining her cheeks as she watched her family leave for the ball without her. As she sat alone, a magical glow filled the room, and suddenly, a beautiful fairy appeared before her. With a wave of her wand, the fairy transformed Cinderella's tattered dress into a dazzling gown, her rags into delicate glass slippers. But remember, the fairy warned, you must leave the ball before the stroke of midnight, for when the clock strikes, your gown will turn back into rags, and your carriage into a pumpkin. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Cinderella set off for the ball, feeling like a princess for the first time in her life. When she arrived, all eyes turned to her, including those of the prince, who was captivated by her beauty and grace. Cinderella danced the night away, her heart soaring as she twirled around the ballroom in the arms of the prince. For a brief moment, she forgot about her troubles and felt like she belonged. But as the clock neared midnight, Cinderella remembered the fairy's warning and fled from the palace, leaving behind one of her glass slippers in her haste. The prince chased after her, desperate to know her name, but all he found was the slipper she left behind. Back at the house, Cinderella returned to her life of servitude, her heart heavy with the memory of the magical night. Meanwhile, the prince vowed to find the mysterious maiden who had stolen his heart, declaring that whoever fit the glass slipper would be his bride. The kingdom was thrown into a frenzy as every maiden tried to squeeze her foot into the tiny slipper, but it was Cinderella who had captured the prince's heart that fateful night. With the help of her animal friends, she was able to retrieve the other slipper and prove her identity to the prince. Overjoyed, the prince swept Cinderella off her feet and carried her away to his palace, where they were married in a lavish ceremony attended by all the people of the kingdom. And so, Cinderella's kindness and courage were rewarded, and she lived happily ever after with her Prince Charming, proving that true love can overcome even the darkest of circumstances.